Hello and welcome to Business Nigeria. I'm Tolu Lokwe Ogunjobi. Today we are focusing on issues around the Nigerian labor movement and also benefits, or well, if we'll call it benefits after the privatization exercise in our power sector in the country. Stay with us, we'll be right back. A warm welcome to you again. Now, so many issues dominated the Nigerian labor movement in the immediate past year, besides the issues of unpaid salaries, pensions, mass retrenchment of workers, protest against hike in electricity tariffs, among others. But two issues which stood tall to make 2016 a year to always remember were the failed strike against the increase in the pump price of petrol from 86 naira 50 kobo to 145 naira per litre, as well as the unveiling of the United Labour Congress of Nigeria, ULC, as the third labor center in Nigeria, alongside Nigerian Labour Congress and the Trade Union Congress of Nigeria. Now, since the disputed outcome of the March 2015 National Delegates Conference, NDC in Abuja, which factionalized NLC with Comrade Ayuba Waba leading one faction and Comrade Joe Ajero leading another faction, the Congress, well, many said it has lost united voice and cohesion. Well, the relationship between both factions has been that of mutual distrust, well, and suspicion, undermining all efforts to reconcile them by the Congress veterans, which included the immediate past governor of Edo State, Comrade Adams Oshiomhole. Now, these issues have actually manifested during the failed strike to protest the withdrawal of subsidy on petroleum products by government. The strike did not enjoy popular support amongst not only the Nigerian populace, but also among industrial unions affiliated to both factions. And as a result, the strike failed woefully. Issue of unpaid salaries and pension had been on the front burner for months, while the affected workers in both public and private sectors are left to their fate. In some cases, they are left for a handicapped local council to handle. Besides media threats of strike, labor leaders did not even declare one-day nationwide protest to press for the payment of salaries and pension of workers and pensioners who are owed months of arrears and salaries and pensions. The issues are just endless. To tell us more, I have someone who should know more and tell us more about it who's in the studio. He's Joe Ajero. He's the General Secretary of the National Union of Electricity Employees and also the President of the United Labour Congress. I must thank you for joining us on the show, sir.
Thank you very much.
Yes, I want to start this way from the power sector. Interestingly, that's where I want to start from. Finally, we privatized. Years after privatization, we are still generating far below 4,000 megawatts. Even as of today, I think about 1,000 is down again. And for a population, for people of 160 million people, or a country of 160 million people, how do we put this side by side?
Well, I don't think we privatized to increase generation. You know, during the process of privatization, there was no attempt to increase power generated in the country. There was just an attempt to share the 4,000 megawatts. 4,000 megawatts being generated by NEPA and later PSCN. And then 18 companies came out of the same NEPA to be laying claims to 4,000 megawatts. That was what happened, and it is happening today. And I could remember telling you that the Nigerians will speak last because we disassociated ourselves from the privatization exercise. So I don't think that there's something that has happened that is new. You know, is expected, is skewed towards it. But one thing you should take in mind is that based on my submission to the national conference is that privatization, public loss, public disaster, private gain, it is still happening. Whether you are generating 1,000 megawatts or 100 megawatts, the investors are smiling to the bank. So that's the situation.
What I see is some of the challenges which we even faced before the privatization exercise, gas supply, infrastructure, and all of that. Yeah. We still have them as we speak.
That was why I told you that it was not meant to solve any problem. There are no ways, you don't mix words. It was not meant to, privatization was not meant to solve. For instance, the first three items in privatization, they say they must look at managerial ability before you are given any sector. technical competence and FDI, foreign direct investment. None was followed. You know, the people managing it, some of them don't have any background. None. They don't have technical competence. They have not worked anywhere in the world. And no $1 came into Nigerian economy based on privatization. You borrow money from UBA or First Bank and you buy Nigerian electricity, the economy is still the same way. So it was based on deceit. And I don't think that I'm among the people that were, you know, excited that people are coming to game Nigerians. No.
So where do we go from here? I know you were there. The fight, the labor unions, they were able to get their entitlements. Many of them were able to get settled. Some were incorporated. Some are still working. Some are no more working. What's the situation now with regards to workers and their entitlements and with the relations with the new owners?
Well, there are some workers that are yet to be paid since 2013, and all efforts. Every year they will talk of biometrics, every year biometrics. Some ex-staff who died during active service, many others, you know, they have not received their entitlement. But by the time you gave the sector to people who do not know their left from their right, these are the kind of things you expect.
Indeed. Indeed. Now, before we go to the other issue, I want us to talk about alternative sources. We've talked about this, and I know in many fields, many forums I've heard you talk about it. Many have argued that we need this energy mix. It is very important that we diversify from just thermal and the hydro power plants and all of that. Are you seeing this government doing that, or what are we supposed to do if we can't? We're having this gas challenge and all of it.
Well, I'm worried that you may not get that. As far back as the time of Obasanjo, you know, I sent some memo to him on the need to look at other sources, Zungeru, Mambila, you know, all those areas to increase the hydro input, and then the large coal deposits in Enugu, Kogi, Benue axis. We did all that, but it appeared nobody was interested in listening to it. Besides all the policy you are talking of now, I can't see the Ministry of Power as presently constituted as having the capacity to do anything. No, Fashola can't deliver. It's even worsened with the PAMSEC, you know, who was relieved of his duty in one of the NIPPs for not even doing NYSC. And now you brought him as a permanent secretary in a ministry as complex as this. And that is why when I look at Buhari's government, I tend to ask, how did he make this choice? How can you get somebody who has not been a clerk in any ministry to be PAMSEC, Minister of Power, and you expect him to perform? Where did he get that experience? Is it based on what consideration? And people are saying power, power, power. By the time you bring him and bring Fashola, whose only qualification is arrogance, how are you going to generate electricity in Nigeria? Don't expect any miracle there.
This is serious. Now, back to the labor issues now, which is also something that is very important. Two issues that stood tall, just like I said during my introduction, was the failed strike against the increase of fuel, which a faction said, well, your faction didn't go on that strike, the other faction went on that strike and all of that, and the unveiling of the United Labour Congress. Now, how has it been, the labor movement, fight for the rights of the people, of the masses, workers? How has it been with all of these challenges?
Well, I think what is important is trade unions involved in a particular sector. Because the trade unions own the labor centers. They fund it, they form it, they bring their money to run it. Now, we only go to the labor center when the trade union in that sector is unable to lead the fight. And we must understand this. You know, it's not every matter that goes to the labor center. Last week, NUPEN rose up to the challenge of what happened in their sector. When it happens among teachers, they will rise up. It's only when they fail, you know, that they come to a labor center for solidarity. So I don't think we have lost this. Throughout our struggle in the power sector, it was restricted to the workers in the sector. You know, and then you can't move to another sector if you are not invited. You know, that's the situation. That's how we have been fighting it. And a lot of progress has been made.
Now I'm talking to now this brought up to the formation or to the inauguration of the United Labour Congress, a fallout of the same a faction or no faction of the NLC. So how in turn will this protect the right of the workers?
Well, the United Labour Congress is not a faction of the NLC.
Okay.
It's a different center. In fact, the first center after the new Trade Union Act, with provisions that you must have at least 12 industrial unions. You must hold your conference, choose a name in that conference, adopt a constitution, and then forward same to the Registry of Trade Unions. And that is exactly what we have done. And we are moving ahead. Now, let me tell you this. If you watch the factions with me before that time, you will discover that there was no time anybody from the other faction came up to attend to their needs. No. And as I said before, it's the trade unions, maybe when they want to go further. So we are still going to continue to fight the interests of the affiliates within our group. Now, 3 days after the inauguration of the United Labour Congress, we visited ARIC. And I'm telling you that same day, ARIC, that has refused unionization for over 10 years, signed agreement to accept union, signed agreement to pay arrears of 7 months. And then when you look at that, is that not what the worker want, to address his issues, rather than look for an omnipotent labor center that doesn't attend to your needs? So I don't think that anything that has happened is contrary to the rules. In 1978, we had 4 labor centers. We're talking of just 3, almost 40 years after. There's nothing that is unusual.
So it's not like, say, any faction is coming together now, everybody now just remains on their own.
Yeah, you remain your own, but if there are issues that affect all of us, usually we'll come together to fight it. I'm not sure anybody will say no. But if a center decides to go it alone, you allow them to go it alone. That's the situation. Like the instances you have given on the first hike, if you watch, a center gave a strike notice without considering the other, and you allow them to go it alone. But if they had considered the potency of the other center, they could have discussed before issuing a strike notice on the operational mode. So, but if they say we are going it alone, you allow them to go it alone.
This brings me now to the issue of, we're still in relations to labor casualization, which is something that you've always fought against. It's now everywhere, not just in the power sector. Then we knew we fought in the power sector, the challenges we faced with the issue of casualization. Now it's in the banking sector. It's in almost all sectors of the economy now. What are you doing? What are you doing to address this ugly trend?
Well, it's a serious monster, and it's being created by politics, those that are wielding political power, and it's like majority of them are equally wielding the economic power. The economic class are the people creating a lot of problem. So they prefer cheap labor. They prefer to casualize job. And like I said, most of the people they sold the power sector to. Let me give you an example with Enugu. Some of us were made to understand that it went to Emeka Offor, who is chairman there. And if that is the fact, almost 80% of people working in all the states in Enugu Disco are from his village. He's sacking everybody from other states and he's going to his village. And then that's the kind of Nigerian investors that we have.
That's an allegation.
But very soon,
okay,
we'll jam.
Okay.
Not too long, we'll jam and see whether what he's doing is promoting the interests of Nigeria or selfish, clannish interest. That's the point I need to make here. Because he has tried to restore a leadership structure of the union and failed, and is trying to attack jobs there. So we'll find out whether he's the owner of Nigeria. So ditto some of these other people in other sectors.
This is a serious one. It brings me back to the Discos, the Gencos, and all of this distribution companies and generation companies after privatization. You've already said that. I know. I don't want to go back. You already said that many of them are not. They didn't start to actually maybe achieve. Maybe there were no achievements, or maybe there were no. They didn't have what they actually wanted to achieve when they got into power. But I still believe that one way or the other, they've been talking about billions of naira being injected into this sector, even from the government after privatization?
Yeah, that's the fraud in privatization. You know, you sold your house, and you are the person you sold your house to, you are giving him money to paint that house. That is privatization. Government sold 60% and is now funding the same people, giving them money to run the business. Meanwhile, take note, government still retains 40%, but government handed over 100%. Because as of today, I have not had government declare 1 naira as dividend from its 40% in the power sector. And you keep on hearing people, you know, announce that you should give the private sector, give them the remaining 40%, say the 40%. You have 100%, even when 60% was sold to you, and you are not doing anything with it. So government virtually handed that place over to them. And I thought that President Buhari should have asked questions. You know, up to now, he has not asked any question, and one doesn't seem to understand whether the people he appointed there, whether the minister or PAMSEC or whatever, are working with him in this direction. Because some of us knew his views before he was elected. But today, we can't see that.
Indeed, indeed. Finally, it's the new year, we all know that 2017, and there are lots of expectations from the workforce, from the labor unions, particularly at this time where there are lots of job losses, coupled with the recession which we face in the country. A lot of them want to know what to expect from the United Labour Congress, the NLCs, the TUCs, and all of what they should expect this year, because at least most importantly is job security and all of that. What do you have? What's your message to them in this time?
Freedom comes by struggle. What they should expect this year is struggle. There is no time.
And the minimum wage, please.
Yeah, is embedded in struggle. There's no time the Nigerian worker has gotten 1 naira added to his money that is not based on struggle. So this year we are going to stand up to struggle to demand for our rights. A situation whereby a bag of rice costs more than a minimum wage is unacceptable. Clearly not acceptable. A situation where you watch the value of the currency devalued. A situation whereby the interest rate and everything is just not to the interest of the worker. Then there is need for the worker to rise up, because a slave has nothing to lose than his chain. And it is in this spirit that we are moving into this new year. The old minimum wage had expired, and then we are going in to ask for another one, despite the fact that some state governments have made it their duties not to pay workers their wages. So if we don't fight, we may get it wrong.
Revenue seems to be low too. Remember, crude oil prices are down.
That's equally another attribute of leadership. Leadership, your ability to generate revenue makes you a good leader. But what we're having now is leadership recession. So with leadership recession, you can't think of how to generate revenue. You can't even appoint the right people to the right positions. So rather than the economic recession, I think the largest problem for Nigeria is leadership recession. And until we check it, we'll continue to grow.
Indeed, Comrade Joe Ajaero there. I know you can go keep on talking. I know, and there are lots and lots, especially when it has to do with power sector and the labor unions. I must thank you for your time on Business Nigeria today. General Secretary, National Electricity Employees, and the President of the United Labour Congress for your time on the show today.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for joining us. Well, that's our package for you today on Business Nigeria. Join us again another time for more insightful analysis and topical issues. I'll leave you with the figures of the exchange rate as it stands today. On behalf of the entire production crew, I am Tolu Lokwe Ogunjobi. Thank you for watching.